This is how you can sell VIP days from anywhere on earth. Now, I'm Tiffany Garside, marketing director of 10 years, entrepreneur who has collectively gotten her clients 31.9 million to date in revenue across 257 different businesses in finance, healthcare, DNA, therapy, group practices, nearly every single industry, real estate, courses, all of those things. But today, you are going to master how you can sell a VIP service priced at $2,000 to $10,000 that will lead into your retainer offers. Now, this is the same sequence that I've been using for the past 10 years to work with clients to move my family to an island called Mauritius in Africa and to continue selling to global consultants. Now we're gonna go over 14 points together, and so let's just jump right in and get started. I'm going to leave a blog down below that goes in depth a little more about these points, but you do want to pull out a notebook or something like that because this is going to be a lot of information. You can think of this as like an intensive session that you and I are having real quick. So number one, diagnose the core business issue before your VIP day. Here's the thing. I love email marketing. I love retention marketing. I love storytelling. I love data and analytics, but nobody wakes up and calls me and says, hey, I just desire emails so much. They do not really desire emails. Instead, they want relief from slower buyer cycles. They want the peace and stability that comes with email marketing, knowing they don't have to post on social all day or worry about sales as much. And they also want the identity of a CEO who has a boutique international global marketing director that's working in their firm. Number two, think of email copywriting, writing and sending your marketing emails as a pre-consultation. The way that most entrepreneurs think about email marketing is completely and totally flawed. Even if you have cold email subscribers, you're doing pitches to corporations, understand that instead of pitching your services directly, you need to pitch your philosophy or your way of thinking, especially if you're experiencing these longer buyer cycles, which literally everyone is experiencing right now. That means you're gonna have to have more patience, but you're going to have to up your email cadence and cut the ChatGPT crummy copy out. I'm telling you, if you want to book 10K clients, 20K clients, $2,000 to $5,000 clients, whatever amount that's a couple $1,000s, they don't want ChatGPT copy. They know what ChatGPT copy is. Even if you're using Claude, they can tell, like, people are not stupid. So you're going to have to come to the understanding and empathize with the fact that you need to tell dang good stories if you want to qualify buyers. And these stories can't be random. They need to be tied to your product, your solution, and that main core pain point that your audience has. And I know it's like, oh, I want to kind of get into this area or talk about finance or talk about this. Please stay focused or work with a marketing director who can build those constraints around your brand and help you understand, there's a space for creative writing. There's a space for other hobbies, but do not let your business be the outlet to those hobbies. Stay focused and think more sales engineer rather than I'm just selling and sending a bunch of content to people. Number three, you need a welcome sequence, ma'am, sir, but it can't be a random welcome sequence again. We're not writing ChatGPT content. We're not doing introductions. We're not telling them, hey, sometimes I like to walk in the garden and use my favorite sunscreen. That is silly, okay? That's not what people want to hear. When somebody has a problem and they came to your email list to solve it through your webinars, your free resources, your ads, your podcasts, your cold pitches, whatever it is, the fact that they are on that email list means in their mind, they think that you can provide some type of solution. So when you dilute that copy and you put yourself in this phase of doubt and being afraid of selling, then you are doing that person a dissatisfaction. It's not a favor for them for you to all of a sudden be afraid of selling and providing a solution. And so your email sequence needs to be geared towards sales. It needs to be geared towards your product and your solution by using 3 core case studies. I want you to pull your best case studies or case studies from clients that you would like to work with again. Like, you like working in that industry, you like working with this type of buyer, you want to merge into this type of industry more often. Pull those case studies, string them out, and write a welcome sequence that is catered to those case studies. Because something beautiful happens even on sales calls when you talk about a case study that relates to that ideal client. They start to see, oh, this doctor that you worked with 5 months ago is just like me, or this construction worker, or this education technology company is just like what I'm trying to do this summer with restarting a boot camp and offering it to schools. They're going to see themselves in that case study, and that's really that key that you need to convert clients. That's the main thing that converts clients in our firm, but then also for all of our other clients. Even for my finance and tax relief clients, most of the emails that go out are actually case study emails where we are breaking down the story in depth, not just saying, hey, so-and-so did this, here's their testimonial, but really telling the before, the middle, the after, the 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line of the experience that that client had in that case study. Number 4, I want you to show how you think. This is another way that you can defeat AI crummy copy, by actually mapping out your process, your philosophy, being willing to be bold and say some stuff that maybe others in your industry don't agree with, but you full-heartedly believe and agree with. Show your process, what your thoughts are, why you do things the way you do, because everybody knows that AI cannot replicate that, okay? Once you have an individual process that is so unique just to your firm, it's going to be so much more easier to sell a VIP service at these couple $1,000 marks, and then to upsell this person into a retainer. Number 5, you're going to need to segment, okay? And when I say segmentation, it's not just about your email list, but it's also about your marketing strategy and your ideal client personas. You're at a phase now where it's not just one ideal client persona. Your business is more advanced. You've been in business 5 to 10 years, maybe 15, 20 years. And so it's high time that you understand the sophistication that exists within your client profiles. So you can segment based on solution and problem. For example, you may have different types of VIP days, whether you're a web designer, a graphic designer, a lawyer, a CPA, a marketing consultant, or even somebody that's in the arts and is doing high ticket art services. There are different solutions and problems to each one of those services. So you're gonna have to map those out, and this is classic product marketing. This is where you come in and literally like take a whiteboard, look at your different products, each individual product, tie 3 to 4 different ideal client personas from your data. You're not pulling this out of thin air. This is coming from clients you've already worked with, some of these main core clients, and then segmenting based on these buyer personas. The next way to segment is based on recency. So recency is basically when someone subscribed to your email list, when they inquired about a service, or how long they've been on your email list. The most popular way to do this, especially if you are from corporate, is in 30, 60, 90, 180 day, and then 12-month intervals to see how long it takes somebody to purchase from you, especially if it's high ticket. Then the last thing that you need to understand when it comes to segmentation is a $3,000, a $3,000 client has wildly different perceptions and experiences and issues than a $300K. Typically at a $3,000 level, it's going to be surface level. For example, my $3,000 per month clients, they typically have an email list that's below 50,000 subscribers. They don't know how to segment quite yet, so I'm going through to help them segment properly for the first time. And then they're not used to having somebody running their data analysis every single month. AI is great for that, by the way. But my clients that are like 300K per year, like They have 3 million subscribers. These are enterprise level clients. These are not the same buyers at all, but they are getting similar services designed for their individual business. But I will tell you right now, an enterprise, if you are contracting with an enterprise, you are a vendor to an enterprise that has 3 million subscribers, it can get heavy. The stakes are up because you have so many segments, like a list like that, for example, that has so many people. We had to segment by each individual city and location that their customers and their clients were in, because that's what made the most sense for that education brand. They sold directly to school districts, not just individual schools, like entire school districts throughout the nation and expanding into South America. This is a totally different buyer than somebody that is getting your service at $3,000. Understand that, be aware of that. You can still communicate to both of those, but it is going to take some sophisticated messaging, some A/B testing, some experimenting to see how do each of these buyers relate to my firm, and how can I articulate my services to both of them. This is where you'll see a lot of businesses actually have 2 different websites, 2 or 3 different sales pages, different lists, because the personalization that you have between those 2 audiences is going to be super, super different. Number 6, I'm gonna need you to stop posting content, okay? Don't say, okay, here's my content calendar. This is our theme based on Women's History Month, based on Financial Services Month. No, please stop doing that. If you want to sell VIP day offers, VIP weeks, you want people to get flown out, or you're doing them virtually, you need to instead post decision pathways. Now, this is something that I adopted about 3 years ago in my business for my clients. We don't do like the average content calendar. The only content that needs to go out, it can be identity based about legacy, or it needs to be a decision pathway. So it needs to help somebody say yes or no to working with your firm. You may be like, oh my gosh, that's too serious. I want to have more fun. That's great. You can have more fun. But when you want to do high ticket sales, when you want to sell your services out, it requires a different type of marketing strategy. It doesn't require the fluffy stuff, being afraid like you're going to have to stand up to the podium, put your big girl jacket on, your big girl pants, your big man pants, whatever it is, and rise up to the occasion and sell at that higher level. Because this person, you have to empathize with them. Why would they buy from you if your content isn't serious? Why would they invest in your financial services if you're not really talking about finance that often? Why would they invest in my marketing services if all my content is just like dancing and like affiliate marketing? Like, that doesn't make any sense. You have to make it make sense. A high ticket buyer, most of the time an affluent buyer, they're quiet, they're discerning, and they're serious. They don't want to giggle all the time and laugh. They have an issue that they want to solve, and they have the money to pay for it, but they're not going to give it to someone that seems unserious. Now, before I get to number 7, if you are loving this conversation and you're like, hey, I would love to have you in a VIP day, check out the link in the description, or go to www.tiffygwrites.ai.com/services to check out and apply for my VIP day. You'll walk away feeling accomplished like the CEO next door, who has a secret corporate level marketer in their back pocket who is creating the sales engineering to take their business to the next tax bracket. Now, number 7, AI should be treated as an analyst, not a copywriter. This is so important, especially I've been doing these tech contracts recently, seeing how like venture-backed firms are using AI. They're not using it for creative writing. They're using it as an analyst and prompting it based on quality assurance and data analytics. This is how smart businesses are using AI. They're not like, oh, ChatGPT, give me 14 social media posts that sound good for this industry. That's not going to work, because ChatGPT, remember what I said before, is probably going to give you those theme days, like a social media manager who's just starting and they think it's all about theme days. Like, that's not what sales is about. You want it to give you decision pathways, but AI doesn't know your decision pathways because AI isn't the CEO who has been in your business. And so it requires a little bit more of a different outcome, a different strategy. It requires some human thought and human judgment. Listen, humans must control and discern emotions. Robots cannot do that. They cannot perform creative judgment. Use AI as your top data analyst so you can see the gaps in your marketing. Number 8, attach proof points. Now here's an example. In all of my videos on the Introvert Marketer podcast recently, which by the way, you can just binge the whole podcast. It does have some shorts, but you can go ahead and go through the long videos as well if you have the time. I am showing you measurable wins. Like, I've collectively gotten my clients 31.9 million to date and counting. I've worked with 257 different businesses. I've worked in so-and-so industries. These are measurable proof points. The same thing if you were in corporate America working with a resume consultant or working with a HR consultant, they would advise you, hey, can you provide some kind of qualitative details on what you've been able to accomplish for those businesses that you were working in? Same thing in your business. It's even more important. You are an entrepreneur, you are a business, and so you have to come out with the qualitative details and quantitative about what you are able to accomplish for clients, okay? It's all about the numbers. Business will always be all about the numbers. Don't let nobody tell you different, because at the end of the day, nobody in this economy is going to invest in a consultant or a VIP day or a service provider or a lawyer or a CPA who does not have the numbers to back up what they're saying. Give them the proof points. And if you're struggling with that, another number you can do is like if you have students you've mentored, if you are an education consultant and there are certain schools in Virginia, you can say, 12 plus districts have been able to use our process. Whatever the number is, it doesn't have to be huge. It's just I'm 10 years in business. Some of my clients are 10, 15 years, so their numbers are a little bit bigger. But even if you're like below 6 years in business, maybe your numbers are a little bit lower, that is okay, especially if you have that unique service, that unique offer. Number 9 is my absolute favorite. You need to slow the process down. High ticket service providers, VIP days, corporations that want to bring in a consultant do not respond to urgency. I don't know how many times I need to say this. They will not respond to urgency. Again, different buyer psychologies. If you were a hair care company, a hairstylist, if you had some kind of sunscreen, some kind of lotion, that's fine. We have a 24-hour sale. Then that's it. We have an 18-hour sale. And even that you have to use sparingly. Honestly, when I work with e-commerce companies, we don't do that every single day all week. Because people aren't going to trust you. You're going to have to do it in like 4 to 6 week intervals so that it's actually like a sale that makes sense and not just you continuing to say urgency, 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 urgency. But high ticket buyers, they don't really care about urgency. Not in that way. There's a way to provide urgency, but it's more about their circumstance and their situation. For example, when I work with tax relief clients, their urgency is based on the fact that the April tax deadline is coming up, so it's an urgent matter, right? So pull something that's like actually circumstantial that's happening in their life. If it's marketing, it's Q2, they're worried about Q3. If they get into Q3 and they don't hit their sales objectives, then Q4 may not be on track either. That's circumstantial. But you're going to have to drop like the random urgency that's like, well, I say that the clock is up in 6 hours. People are not going to buy that. They're not going to trust it. And they may unsubscribe from your email list and totally leave your sphere altogether because you sound like the gimmicky car salesman. Don't be that person. Be the person that has empathy, that has integrity, and that sells with those two things. And understand you can sell people, but again, you have to take them through a decision matrix. This happens at point A. This happens at point B, or if you don't decide to work with us, this happens and it's not bad. Give them a decision matrix so that they can make a decision, because even if someone is fatigued from making a decision, if you can alone help them come to a yes or a no, to a I need this now or I need this later, you're already winning, because you just provided them with some type of relief where they got to make this decision with you instead of by themselves in confusion. And that's a win. Number 10, write with precise intent. In this 2026 economy, you're gonna have to be super specific about what it is you do, who it is you serve, why you serve these people, what your identity is, what your values are, so that people can begin to see themselves within those values, within that identity. That becomes your unique competitive advantage. This is where we get into branding guides, corporate briefs, creative briefs, marketing that goes beyond the surface level. In fact, I'd love to just throw out the word marketing and really use psychology, because at the end of the day, you're speaking to humans, so you have to understand what works with humanity. They want to see themselves inside of your business. They want to see themselves inside your offers. They want to see what their life is going to be like to build trust. And if your sales page and your website are not detailed in that way, ma'am, sir, you probably need to throw it out and revamp it completely, because it's not working. Number 11, you have to make VIP day outcomes super clear. Now, this goes for any retainer service. It goes for anything you're doing. Make the outcome clear. This thing where it's like, well, I don't want to tell them everything they're getting, or I don't want to tell them what ingredients are inside. I want to keep that to myself. This is not the economy to do that in. People will not buy from you if you do not provide a sense of clarity and transparency around what they're getting. I mean, you're telling them to spend their hard-earned money, and so you got to tell them what they're getting. For example, my VIP Day clients get a slew of 20 emails that are catered towards sales engineering and the buyer's journey, corporate level sales briefs, and a cadence, and they're going to feel like the CEO next door. This is like a step above old marketing, having a VA do your marketing. This is like, oh, I can't afford to hire an entire corporation like McKinsey & Co. I can't afford to hire all of these marketing consultants. But if I get this one person who knows how to market effectively, who knows buyer psychology, then not only do I have a problem solved because I'm generating more sales, but also you start to feel a sense of prestige. Number 12, let your system sell for you. Email automations, AI automations, case studies, let all of these things work together for your good on automation. When we talk about a welcome sequence, this is an automated slew of emails, 10 to 25 emails that every new client goes through, that every new prospect goes through as a follow-up before they receive the emails that you send regularly to your list, okay? Let technology work for you, and if you're having trouble with that, visit www.tiffygwrites.ai. Number 13 is using contrast over cleverness. It's not helpful to be clever. It may get you more attention on social media and things of that nature, but it will slow your sales down, because me laughing at a post or me just liking a post in passing is not the same as trusting that person to give them 10,000, 5,000, whatever amount of dollars, okay? So instead, you want to contrast what this person's life is like before and after working with you, or if they choose this specific strategy over that specific strategy. This goes back to your unique selling proposition and being confident in what you sell, confident in your philosophy, and saying, hey, I don't think you should do it this way because X, Y, and Z, and this data says that, and owning your thoughts and your opinions in your industry. Be thought-provoking, be bold, contrast. Don't be afraid to show up in the marketplace. Don't be someone that's afraid to disagree with people that are in your industry. If your unique selling proposition is not like everybody else, that is a winning sign, and you are going to book more clients, friend. Number 14, build a global model. This is where you want to use your podcast. You want to use YouTube, SEO, your blog. You don't want to just be on social media borrowing Mark Zuckerberg's media. You don't want to do that. You want to have your own owned media that you can target different locations that will open you up to a global audience. And it's easier than you think. I remember my first international client in 2019 was actually a client down in the Bahamas who owned a natural hair care store, okay? She was international. She was shipping her products internationally, high ticket wigs like $600, $1,000, whatever. And so she needed a high ticket service provider, a marketer to come in and assist her in her social media and email marketing strategy. So I took over both the strategy role and the execution. It's not difficult to work with global clients, but if you don't have a website, you don't have a blog, then global clients are less likely to work with you because, again, these high ticket service providers, these high ticket clients, it's not all about social media for them. They actually want to see that you're an expert. And the best way to show your expertise is via the written word and your website so that they can make these decisions in an incubated space quietly by themselves and see your philosophy without you trying to persuade them on the phone. Now, we have reached the end of this intensive session, 25 minutes in. This can also work if you're doing virtual speaking engagements and intensives like that in Spain and Israel. I've done some in Israel, I've done some in Australia, and gotten clients on my email list from all different areas of the world. So that will work as well for your global marketing strategy. But if you like this conversation and you want to have one where I diagnose and audit your email marketing operations, your AI marketing operations, go to www.tiffygwrites.ai and I'll talk to you soon.